Hi there, all 303 here again. Sorry for the delay since the last video. Life has took over and it's been pretty busy. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about fake militaria items and how they can really trip up the unsuspecting collector, particularly the beginner collectors. So by way of an example, I'd like to quickly show you two items. So here we have a German Stadtgranate, which is a stick grenade, the archetypal grenade from World War II. On the German side, you can see we have a wooden handle and an explosive charge, jacketed steel at the top there. And then here we've got a Stahlhelm Luftwaffe helmet. And take a look at that decal. The reason I'm showing you these two items is because they're in extremely good condition. However, most of you will probably work out that this hand grenade is actually a fake. It's actually a reproduction hand grenade. You can get original hand grenades, which are obviously inert and they're harmless, but to get a hand grenade in this sort of condition would be possible, but very unlikely. So if you see something that is too good to be true, it probably isn't true. It probably isn't what it's professing to be. Not always, but give it some second thought. Look at it and think, wow, is that as good as I think it is? Particularly if it's priced in a kind of lower middle price band. So let's say this hand grenade came your way and somebody said, oh yeah, it's completely original, and we I want to sell it to you for £175, I don't know, €200, something like that. If you were inexperienced, you might think that's a reasonable amount of money, but actually for a hand grenade in this condition, a stick grenade, a German stick grenade with all the markings on it, yep, take my money. And then you'd be bitterly disappointed when you realise that it wasn't what it professed to be. Normally, when you put on Facebook, you say, wow, look what I bought, guys. And then they go, oh, sorry, you've dropped a clanger there. That is not what you think it is. It's a fake. So be really careful. If something comes along, find yourself some good groups and post on it, get people's opinion. Because without that opinion, you're in very, very dodgy territory. Opinions and books. This is why I have got a good variety of books, both as completely for interest purposes, but then also for research purposes too, to make sure that I can reference things. So be careful with items that appear to be in excellent condition. Now, that's not to say that you can't find items in excellent condition. This helmet that I just described to you a few minutes ago is really almost mint. It is an absolutely amazing example, and this came my way purely by accident, and I happened to have the money at the time to spend on it, so I snapped it up and bought it. Now I'm going to do a separate video a bit later on which is going to detail what to look for with fakes and what to look for with originals, to give you a broad idea. But that price band I mentioned is a real tell. So, you know, a helmet like this, if this helmet, a similar helmet, comes your way and somebody's trying to say 250 quid, 300 quid, hesitate massively. The market value for a helmet like this at the moment, believe it or not, is anywhere north of £1,000. It'll probably go a little bit lower, but you wouldn't be laughed out of the room for trying to ask around about £1,000 plus. If you go to online sellers, online shops, genuine shops, they'll be looking at £1,500 to £2,000 for this. So just be aware that these are out there, but you're going to have to pay premium price for them unless you're incredibly lucky. And if you feel you're incredibly lucky and you found something for a song, get it checked out, do your research and make sure that you don't get done. Now, this kind of thing, this World War I Brody, this is the kind of thing that sometimes comes along. Now, when I started collecting, this would have been my Grail helmet. This would have been the absolute pinnacle of collecting for me, because it's got a liner in it and it's in excellent condition. Original World War One. This wasn't refurb for World War Two. This is a World War One original. And it took me a great deal of time to find something that I wanted in my collection that was an original helmet, untouched, unmolested, relatively unscathed, with light signs of use. Whether it went into the trenches or not, I don't know. I mean, you know, it may well have, but who knows? It could have sat on somebody's head in the rear echelon. Who knows? But, you know, the point is, it's original. It cost me a little bit of money. It was actually for sale in Belgium via a collector on Facebook who was a very well-known collector who I trusted. Got loads and loads of great reviews. I had dialogue with him through Messenger, and I really liked how he conducted himself and conducted his business. He was pretty trustworthy, I thought, on the first judgment that I had, and I went with that gut feeling. Never ever allow your excitement of acquiring an item to override common sense. Always buy the item, not the story. Always, without exception. Whatever you're buying, unless it comes with absolutely rock solid providence, and even then, things can be lied about, you know, assume it is just worth the sum of its parts. So if somebody comes to you and says this is Hitler's helmet and tries to offer it you for £500,000, the chances are it very much isn't. Okay, so use some common sense. If something's got somebody's name in, you know, and it's a high-ranking Nazi official, who knows? It might have been put in there to sell the item. You know, it's unlikely, let's face it. Now, I actually do have in my collection a Knight's Cross helmet worn by the winner of a Knight's Cross, a guy called Rudolf Meinhardt, and I did a great deal of research before I bought this helmet to satisfy myself that it was actually his helmet. But you know, it can happen. People put names in helmets, and that just so happens to be somebody famous, and well, yeah, you get done that way. Now, the other thing is sometimes two will come along at once. So this helmet here and this helmet here, after years and years of searching, came within 2 weeks of each other, and I jumped on both of them because I just couldn't resist. Now, this one, the second one, really I shouldn't have bought, for the simple reason that I couldn't afford it at the time, or rather I had the money but I shouldn't have spent it, and that's what I did. Ignore the K98 sight cover. The reason that's there is because the liner is dropping slightly, as you can see, and I'm using the sight cover just to support it until I can think of some other way of doing it. So these helmets are absolutely original. They haven't been touched, and I know what to look for with a World War One Brodie to know it hasn't been faked and to know that it is original. But that has only come through exhaustive study and experience. The next collector might get it done for a World War One Brodie that's actually been refurbed for World War Two and been on the wiser because they don't know what to look for. Check your books, get opinions. That's the only way to go. And then sometimes these things come along and you've just got to buy them. If you've got the money, you've just got to buy them. But always make sure you've done your homework first. And then sometimes you'll get something that's half and half, like this gas mask canister here. So this is an original gas mask canister, but it's been repainted and it's actually been artificially aged quite well. The reason that I know it was faked is because I did it. When I got this gas mask canister, it was in relic condition. It was really good for nothing other than refurbishment, and I don't really like doing that with my items, but I did, and I got it looking pretty good. But I'll tell you something, I'd be very, very hesitant to sell this. I would not sell this, I should say. Let me rephrase my language. I would not sell this to another collector as an original. I would only sell it to them as what it is, which is a repainted World War II gas mask holder tin. I wouldn't be saying it's anything other than what it actually is. So the key takeaway from this video is be really careful what you're buying. Be careful, do your homework, do your research. You can't have enough books. It doesn't really matter if they're electronic books or if they're paper books with colour plates. the chances are there probably will be physical books for this kind of thing. Just make sure you get some and do your research. Befriend collectors on the internet, on whatever form of social media you're using. Most of them are incredibly helpful. Whenever I'm on forums, I am by no means an expert, but I do know more than the average bear, and I will share that knowledge if somebody asks. I will try and point them in the right direction if I can. So happy collecting, everybody. Be careful what you're buying, be careful what you wish for, and if something lands in your lap and it looks too good to be true, it probably is a bit of a letdown. So bear that in mind. We've all been done, but let's not be done any more times than we have to be. Thanks very much, guys. See you next time.